Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and what I want to do is talk a little bit about individualism, what it is and what it isn't. Okay, so sometimes you talk to people who claim to be individualist, who criticize anyone for labeling themselves anything. So basically, if I say I'm a proud Puerto Rican, I'm a proud Guatemalan, people are like, no, you're just a person, you're human. And I agree, we're all individuals and we should be judged by our merits. But it doesn't necessarily mean we can't identify ourselves as anything. So I do identify as a Guatemalan, I do identify as a Puerto Rican out of respect for my parents, respect for their grandparents and the experiences they had, and the shared experiences I may share with people who grew up in similar cultures. I also identify as a libertarian because of my views on the role of government and the power of individual choice. And I identify as a geek because I enjoy things like Game of Thrones, Magic the Gathering, video games, 8-bit music. I identify as all sorts of things. So there's nothing wrong with identifying. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging the labels that help describe the various parts that make you the individual. Where you start getting away from individualism is when you stop judging people based on the individual parts that make up them and make them unique, and try to learn what those parts are in order to judge them, and instead just basically treat people like monolithic groups with monolithic ideas, and they all think the same, they all act the same. Again, you can have an identity and still be an individualist. And what prompted this is just a lot of thinking about this recently. Do a couple things. Again, I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Guatemalan. I guess that would put me in the broader term of Latino. Now, so recently, a couple different things happened. I was filling out a form for a survey I was taking. And there's always that issue where if you're a Latino person, you run into this sort of conundrum where they ask you, are you of Hispanic origin or Latino? And it's like a yes or no question. And you say yes. And then you get to the question of race. And there's no option that I necessarily feel that I identify with or that I feel that is appropriate to me. So because it's basically black, white, Asian. I don't identify as black. I don't identify as white. I don't identify as Asian. So I oftentimes have to find myself just hitting the other key. Now, while I understand that all technicality, Latino, Hispanic is more thought of as an ethnicity different than a race, and there is a difference. But what's my race? And why does it really matter? So that was one of the first things that sort of got me thinking about this recently. And then the second thing that got me thinking about this is that I've been seeing that this new term, Latinx or Latinx, I'm not sure if it's supposed to be pronounced Latinx or just Latinx, but the idea is to create this new inclusive term for all Latinos, so that way men don't have to say Latino and women don't need to say Latina. And this way it's more gender inclusive. Now, if you're not familiar with the Spanish language, it's just I don't know if I would say feature or an aspect of the Spanish language where generally words being said by a male or referring to sort of a male gender ends in O, and then females end in A, and it's just sort of, it's a very gendered language. Nothing wrong with that. So I just found this kind of funny. But I mean, if we're really concerned about how inclusive our identity is, then why have an identity? Because the most inclusive identity is that of an individual. That I'm just an individual like everybody else who has the same rights as everybody else. The same right over my body, the same right to my property, the same right to my life. And then that we should be respecting the rights of everyone. That's sort of the essence of being a libertarian. That acknowledging that we're all individuals, and as individuals we have rights that should be tolerated, respected, protected, embraced. So yeah, I'm a proud Guatemalan and I'm a proud Puerto Rican, but at the end of the day, I'm proudest of being an individual, and specifically being Alex Merced. And that's sometimes what matters most. At the end of the day, are you proud to be you? Are you proud of the things? Well, of course, there's several different factors that may or may not be in control that may have an effect on your outcomes, but there's such a huge amount of influence you have on your outcomes. So focusing on all the things that you don't have control. If you spend too much time trying to change the things you can't change, you're not changing the things you can change. And there's so much in your power as an individual to make changes in your own life. Focusing on the things that you can control distracts you from controlling the things you can control. And I think that's something that gets really lost in identity politics, where people focus on all sorts of external forces, which leads people to sort of forget about the internal forces, the things that are intrinsic to you. And this is just stuff I really want to get out of my chest regarding sort of identity, individualism, libertarianism, and my own thoughts. So hopefully you guys appreciated this discussion. Have a great day. Enjoy the game. The name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, wherever. I got a lot to say, and I hope you guys want to hear it.